Hello everyone, it's Kathy Champion and you're back with me here at Kathy's Random Acts of Stamping. As many of you know, I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator and I'm located here in the beautiful state of North Carolina, but I can take care of you no matter where you live all over the United States. So today I got inspired by a card that I saw on Pinterest. Now if you are kind of at that point where you just aren't quite sure what you want to do, you can always get inspiration at Pinterest. So I go there quite often and I save cards, and I will save them either like birthday, or if it's just a Stampin' Up! Card that I absolutely love and it's made with Stampin' Up! Products, I'll save it in a Stampin' Up! Folder. This one was just that. It was a Stampin' Up! Card. I'm not sure because they didn't give dimensions and all of this, so I'm kind of just eyeballing what I saw and I'm going to try to replicate it. But what we're going to do, we're going to use our Scalloped Contour dies, the Timeworn type 3D embossing folder. I have the Dragonfly Punch, and I have a piece of Misty Moonlight Cardstock. Then this is going to be our card base as well as a banner that's going to go across. We're also going to need a scrap of basic white, and that's going to be for our sentiment, and I think this will work right there. And this is a piece from the Hand Penned Designer Series paper. Beautiful colors. It's going to pair gorgeous with this Misty Moonlight. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to pull out my paper trimmer first, and we are going to cut this down. I'm going to lay this little scrap over here because we'll come back to that in just a moment. But we're going to cut this down on the 11-inch side. I'm going to bring it to 5.5, and at 5.5 I'm going to slice this in two. And this will give us the measurements that we need for two A2 size cards. I'm going to lay this one over because I'm going to save that for another card. Then I'm going to turn it on the 8.5-inch side, and I'm going to score it using our score blade. I'm going to score it at 4 1/4. That's going to be halfway on the 8.5-inch side. So give it a good score. And then I'm going to raise it up and turn it over. I like to fold into my mountain, so I'm going to lay it against the edge of my trimmer, and I'm going to fold that over. And let me grab my bone folder, and I'm just going to crease this down really good, just like that. Now we have our card base is ready to go. The other thing I want to do is I want to cut a piece of this that's going to be about 4 1/8, and we're just going to slice a piece of that off by 5 3/8. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and 3. I like to count my 8s off because sometimes they can be a little tricky. That's going to be our front mat. While we have this piece here, I am going to cut a strip off of the other end of this at about 2 inches. Give me just a second. I need to go and take care of my puppies. They are whining at the door. I'll be right back. Okay everybody, I am back, and we are going to go ahead and continue where we left off, if I can remember where I left off. We have our card base cut, as I already said. This is 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. And then I have this piece of Designer Series paper from the Hand Penned DSP, and I'm going to use this contour scallop die, and that came from this set right here. And I'm going to run this through my embossing Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and this is going to give us a beautiful little edge to put on the front of our card, and I think this is going to look really, really pretty. So I'm just going to lay this over on my mat and make sure I get it nice and even. And I'm going to crank this in at just a little bit of an angle, because anytime that you're cutting a straight edge, you want to angle it just a little bit, and it will keep you from getting that huge pop that we always get in our die cut if you go in on the straight edge. You see how I have it angled just a tiny bit, And that does make a big difference when you are doing your die cut. Takes the stress off of your dies as well as your machine. So I'm going to knock out my little pieces out of there. And this is going to go on here. Isn't that pretty? Look how those colors coordinate so well. Such a pretty piece of paper. So I'm going to lay that die over to the side. And I'm going to see if I can clean up my plate because we do have some more die cutting that we need to do. And these pieces usually just pop right off of here really easily. So I just like to hold mine over the trash can and clean off as much as I can get so I don't make a mess everywhere. So there we go. So now I'm going to put this back together because we will be die cutting some more. The next thing that we want to do is I'm going to do some embossing. And in order to emboss with the 3D embossing folder, you need your specialty plate and your #1 base plate. So, and we're going to do something a little bit different. I thought about putting a piece over top of this and then putting this on it, but it just doesn't give you quite the same effect. So I'm going to show you how you can use your embossing folder. Let's see if I can find it. Here it is. I want this to go in this direction, but you know how we always try to make sure that our embossing folders are going in from the top. Well, this time we're going to do this a little bit different, and we're going to take it in through the side. And the reason for that is I only want to emboss that front part of that card. So I'm going to lay this on top of my #1 plate, and I'm going to put that #4 plate over top, and then I'm going to crank it through. This is the way you can emboss the front of your cardstock without embossing the whole piece front and back. Yeah, we got a little bit of a pop on that, and that's normal. And let's see how well that looks. Look how pretty that turned out. Can you see that detail? So pretty. And we also, I have a strip here that's 1 1/4 by 5 inches, and we're going to go ahead and do the same thing with it. I'm just going to lay it in here, and this one we can actually bring down against this line to make sure we're getting it nice and straight. All of our Stampin' Up folders have this little registration line right here at the bottom, and that will work wonderful just like that. And we'll crank that through. And all of your little elements that you do to your cards is what makes them so special. So here is this piece already embossed. So now we're done with that embossing folder. The next thing I want to do, I'm going to bring up my my paper trimmer, and we're going to use the scoring blade on it this time. And what we want to do is score this 5-inch piece on the 5-inch side at a 1/2 inch. So I'm going to just come in and make a nice little easy score line there, turn it around and do the same thing on the other side. And now we have a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch. This is going to fold around, and it's actually going to fit over top of this piece right here. And it's almost going to look like it will be a slider that will slide down, but it's not. We're actually going to glue this into place, but it's just going to give a nice little element on the front of our card. So pretty. The next thing is, remember I told you we're going to be using the Dragonfly Punch? And I only want the big Dragonfly, but you know we're probably going to end up doing the small one as well. So I'm going to unlock that, and I'm going to use a piece of the Misty Moonlight, and I'm going to come in and just all the way over to the edge as far as we can get it and punch. And then I have a piece of vellum that I'm going to do the same thing. This is our vellum. It's a very high quality vellum. Y'all have seen me use this when I've done the alcohol blending, and it is really a good weight of vellum, so it makes it work so well. I'm going to measure this little dragonfly because I don't want to cut off any more than I'm going to need, and I think about there be good. So let's just take that to 2.5 inches and just slice that vellum. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm just going to put my vellum into this punch just like that and punch your dragonfly out. And what this is going to allow us to do is we're going to have a nice little piece of vellum behind our dragonfly that's going to give him a little bit more dimension and just a little added something. I think it'll make him look very pretty. So there's our little dragonfly. And I'm going to bend his wings up just a little bit. And I'm going to use some glue dots to attach the body to that piece of vellum. So let's grab our glue dots. And the good thing about the glue dots, you can just set your piece right down into the glue dot and pick it up. Makes it so easy. Just like that. And then I'm going to hold these two together just like this, and I just want to make sure that they're lined up perfectly. Just like that. And we may do something with his body, so maybe some little jewels or something to give him a little extra added something. So now what I want to do is I want to bring this piece over, and I want to put some Stampin Seal on these little flaps, the little 1/2 inch place that we have right here. And I'm going to use the Stampin Seal Plus because this gives me a really good strong adhesive. And I'm going to do it on both sides. And now we just need to decide exactly where on here we want this to live. And I think I'm looking at my words to make sure I'm getting the words going the right way. And I don't think it really matters. That looks like it's right. So then I'm going to come down about here, and I'm just going to work with one side and then the other. That way it's not going to be, you're not going to crimp your scalloped edges if you do it this way. So I'm just pressing that down, and then press that down. And then we are going to glue this whole piece down to our card, just like that. Again, I think I'm going to use the Stampin Seal. I think we'll get a good seal on this. We are using a embossing folder behind this, so you want something you know is going to grip and hold. And the Stampin Seal this is the Plus, and it's very, very strong. So now I just want to be careful when I'm putting this down to make sure my margins are nice and exactly as even as I can possibly get them. And you want to make sure this piece is nice and straight. And then just press that down. Now remember I told you we were going to use this the smaller scallop in the Scalloped Contours. I want to use that for my sentiment, but I want to find the stamp set that I want to use. And let me go and find what I'm looking for, and then we will be right back. Alright, after going through some of my stamp sets, I think I came up with this one, and I like this Thank You Kindly. I'm always needing thank you cards because I send thank you cards to all of my customers. So it looks like I've gotten red ink on me from something. I'm not sure what, but nevertheless, I'm going to use that, and I think that's going to look really pretty in this little framelit. So let's go ahead and cut our framelit first. And then once we get it cut, then we can stamp without too much problems. And again, even with this small one, I'm taking it at an angle, which just makes it pop a little less than what it would normally. So this is such a cute little label, and I think it's going to fit beautifully right here on that little banner that we've made. And like I said, this card was totally Pinterest inspired. And if you are hitting a brick wall and not being able to come up with a design or whatever, always think of Pinterest, because there's so many people that post beautiful, beautiful cards. You might not always get the measurements, but you can definitely get inspiration. And then you can just take their idea and kind of run with it and make it yours. And that's pretty much what I've done. And you know, there's nothing wrong in casing a card. Case, create and share copy and share everything. That's what casing a card means. You're copying and you're sharing everything. And you know, sometimes that's the best form of flattery, is if you reproduce something that someone else has made. I'm not going to use Memento. I'm going to use the Misty Moonlight, because I really want to tie it in with the color of the cardstock. And again, that's one of the wonderful things about our Stampin' Up! Products. Everything color coordinates, which is just one of the things that I love, one of the many things I love about our Stampin' Up! Products. So I'm going to pull this over onto my Stampin' Pierce mat. Anytime you're using photopolymer stamps, it's a good thing to have a little bit of a cushion. It just really helps you get a better image when you're stamping. So I'm just going to lightly kiss the ink, and I always double check to make sure I've got good ink coverage on my stamp. And then just come down right in the center and stamp. And that's going to dry a little bit lighter. It looks almost like navy when you stamp it down. And of course, look at this. I can never open an ink pad without sticking a finger or a thumb or something in it. So that was no different. I just stuck my finger into that ink, but that's okay. A little alcohol wipe and it's all forgotten. So I'm going to clean this stamp up. And if you notice, this is all the stamping we've done so far on this card. And I'm going to leave the inside open, because we can always save cards like this and write a sentiment for the inside. A handwritten note is always nice. So I'm going to pop this up on a couple of dimensionals. So let's grab, looks like I need a new pack of my regular size ones. I thought I still had a few back here. Tell you what, we're going to use the scissors and we're going to cut these and make these work. And a lot of times when you've got these strips that are left on the edge and you've got a small piece like this, you can just cut a couple of these strips off and they will fit all the way across the top and the bottom, which is perfect. And as you can see, that fits on there just like we want it to. And I'm going to go down on this side and get another strip, just like that. And I like to put the even edges to the outside. And if you see that you cut it too long, no big deal. Just take your snips and snip it off like that. And I'll just put that piece back onto my little sheet, because we can use that on another card. I always say don't waste your crafting supplies. Always save everything, because you never know when you're going to need just that little teeny piece of adhesive. So why throw away what you can use, right? Our craft supplies cost money. So I'm going to pop that down right in the middle, just like so. And then we've got our beautiful little dragonfly, and I want to put some gems on him. So let's see what we've got that would be very pretty. I love these gilded gems. They are gorgeous. Let's see if we want those, or if we want to get the soft succulent. Oh, these would be pretty. These are the elegant faceted gems, and these are gorgeous. And these can be found in the annual catalog. And I'll have a link for everything that I used to make this card in the description below. And also, if you have not subscribed to my channel, please think about doing so. Just hit that subscribe button, and there's a little bell beside of it. If you ring that bell, you can be notified every time I put up a video, so that way you don't miss out on what's happening here in my craft room. So I would certainly appreciate it if you would think about subscribing. It helps me grow my channel and grow my business. And it also allows you to become an intricate part of my little crafting family. And I'm always looking for new team members and new subscribers. So, and if you're interested in becoming a demonstrator, now's a great time. And I just posted on my Facebook page. And that's another thing too. If you watch me on a regular basis, you may want to go over and join the Facebook group, Kathy's Random Acts of Stampin', and there you will find all kinds of inspiration. You'll see the videos in case you do miss one, and you will always be able to find that there. And I'm going to use a small dimension. We do have the mini dimensionals, and I'm going to use a couple of those to adhere the Dragonfly to our card. So I'm going to put one right there and one right here. Just like that. Again, I'm going to bend those wings up just a bit, and then I want to adhere that right about there. Isn't that pretty? Such a pretty card, and it was very easy to make. I mean, this card really didn't take a whole lot of material. You know, just a card base, a little strip, enough to punch out your dragonfly, a little piece of scrap white, and then of course we will put a piece of white inside for our inside message or to write a note. I love the way it looks like that this is lifted up, and it looks like that piece was slid down behind it, but it really wasn't. I love the illusion of that. I think the card turned out really cute. I hope that you have enjoyed watching the process of this Pinterest inspired card using the Hand Penned Designer Series paper, the contoured scalloped contour dies, and our Dragonfly Punch. So again, like I said, all the items that was used to make this card will be listed in the description below. Go take a look, and I hope that you'll find something that would inspire you to maybe make something similar to this. So again, thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see the card a little closer. Such a pretty little card. Maybe out a little bit more. I wanted you to be able to see the entire card. Like I said, God bless and keep you. All of you in my prayers. I pray that your family, friends, and all your acquaintances are doing well and staying healthy in this terrible time that we're living in with the coronavirus. I pray that you would achieve everything that you hope to, and most of all, I pray that you would know our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He is so worthy of all of our praise and honor, so let everything that you do and say bring honor to Him. He is worthy. Until we craft again, may God bless and keep you. Bye-bye.